Alive and well, it's a whole new pod, a podcast all about Disney Channel original movies. I'm your healthy host, Lucas Melby.
And I'm your other maybe healthy host, Jacob Telejohn.
Well, shit. It's okay,
We
guys.
don't know.
We don't know, yes.
We're asymptomatic.
We are living in uncertain times. At the end of our last episode, which was at least a month ago,
Yeah.
we were like, shit, this stuff seems to be popping off. Things are going fast, and it's only gone faster since then. Every day feels like forever, and the weeks just run together. And we didn't plan ahead, so that's why we did not record. We've had hiatuses about this long before, but this time we at least have an excuse.
And a reason.
That
so
we
don't
did not plan to try to remote record or anything.
Yeah.
This was actually the first time I think I've seen Telejohn or Jacob in person since the last time we recorded.
Last episode.
Which isn't also the most rare thing, but usually it's like a difference of like 2 weeks or something.
Yeah.
I do an episode and I'm like, all right, I'm good.
Got my fix.
Peace out.
Got my fix.
We're all adjusting and living.
Hopefully you haven't caught it. If you have, write us and tell us all about your experience with that. And
it's a unique circumstance because sometimes, hey, normally I would love an excuse that we didn't record for a month. But since it's like, hey, we're not recording because me and Jacob try to, social distance and keep our distance because we're both still working, which is fortunate. Or maybe some people could look at it as unfortunate, but it's been good for us so far that we're still working.
Yeah.
But this excuse is, the pandemic's going on. So it's like, we're not recording, but it's not like I'm taking it easy or anything. It's just I'm very stressed and anxious all the time.
Yeah.
So it's not exactly the fun vacation from... And we like doing the podcast. It's just some of the editing can be tiresome for me. But sometimes it's not. And just for a life update, we're still doing well.
Kicking.
Minnesota, fortunately, seems to be doing pretty well.
Yeah, nobody that I know really personally, maybe some like internet, people out of state, caught it, but nobody that I know directly, has gotten it. Nobody at work. It might just be
natural for us Minnesotans to just stay inside. We're getting towards the end of winter. We're getting to some warmer weather, but we had a spike of 70 degrees at the beginning of a week, and then towards the end of the week,
7 inches of snow.
We had snow on Easter here, so we're good at staying inside, but in our area, in our county area, 30 to 40 total cases, and Minnesota, at least by some metrics, has the lowest per capita infection rate, it seems. But of course, that's still dependent on availability of testing and stuff like that. But that doesn't prevent some people from still reasonably wanting to get back to work. But when it's weighing like, how important is the economy, or more really, what we're talking about here is the stock market.
Or even so, like, some people are making double what they would be on unemployment than they would working, too. That's a thing I've heard a lot of people telling me about, too.
We don't need to get into those talking points. Yes, how terrible for people who make $11 an hour or $10 an hour or whatever to actually, just get, like, their tax money back instead of having to go to dumb stuff like bailing out corporations. But what I'm saying is, just take it.
Save the airlines.
Easy. Fuck the cruise industry. I'm still saying that. But there's like people outside of the governor of Minnesota's house today protesting about reopening the economy, and it's just like hundreds of people. None of them wearing masks.
Speaking of the cruise thing, I didn't even realize there were still like not hundreds, but there were thousands of people still like out on ships in the waters floating around.
Yeah, they should have gotten those people. At least some of those people.
Dude, that's crazy.
It was aware to them that, hey, maybe I shouldn't go on this cruise.
Like the cruise ships knew about it, and they were still like, let the party continue. Yeah, let's keep on going to the cocktail bars and stuff. Yeah. They didn't like shut the stuff down and quarantine their guests or whatever. It was weird. It's a weird deal.
Cruises are dumb, and people that go on cruises are dumb. Not saying they deserve to die or be quarantined on a ship, and in some cases end up getting sick and potentially dying.
I've been hearing a lot of sketchy, like funeral home stories too. Like, what the heck, man?
But again, that's in places where we're not. My brother lives in New York City, and that's a whole nother ballgame from what we're dealing with here. So for us, a lot of time, we were talking earlier that it's hard to not get like complacent because it's like, hey, like, we're fine. I don't know anybody that's being sick.
Yeah.
But we're still trying to maintain social distance. I'm 6 feet away from Jacob.
Yeah.
I try to be as far away from him as I usually can. I told the story about in Old Coin's Best Offer Room. We got a bit of a stank sometimes. You might notice a little bit of a difference in my quality of audio, that is. We have an excuse, like not recording, we have an excuse for maybe some differences in audio that I'm actually wearing a face mask right now.
Yes.
So I am protecting Jacob from my potential asymptomatic infection.
Yeah, I'm
Jacob is not protecting me from anything.
Hashtag free the mouth movement right now. So yeah,
hopefully if this could reduce any mouth noises that I usually try to edit around, but sometimes
Lucas is going to just wear a mask the rest of his life.
I'm Bane. I will break the back of Batman.
Oh my!
But that's enough real world talk.
Little dark for Disney,
Yeah, because you've been dealing with it so much, and this is an opportunity, I guess, for us to vent a bit. But that's not what you're coming here for. You're coming here for the DCOM.
The Jennie Project.
So, yes, what is the
question?
The
Jennie Project.
What movie forced us that finally, hey, we will brave going outside of quarantine, self-isolation, social distancing. For what? As has been talked about in some previous episodes, it was the Jennie Project.
Which,
what is the Jennie Project, you ask?
It's
you probably will never know because it, unlike the Judge Jackson movie, was actually on Disney+. There are still, you can look out there, if you search like Jennie Project Disney+, you'll see a list of people just documenting the things that Disney had came out ahead of time. Like, this is what will be there at launch. So it was there.
Gone.
And it's been taken off
erased from history.
Disney+. So I'm just going to say, we watched it on an extra legal site. I did not pay money on YouTube or Amazon to fucking rent the Jennie Project. One thing in its favor, it's the shortest DCOM we've watched for a while.
It went by pretty quick.
It didn't.
I don't know.
We've watched 90-minute DCOMs that have gone by faster, I felt, than this
It was better than I think we talked it down going into.
Well, I knew nothing about it except that it's about a chimpanzee that learns sign language. And
I want to get a chimp now. An ape.
All right, now we're going into our exotic animal cast. We
got Joe Exotic here to talk about his roadside
DCOMs,
zoo.
Disney Plus came out. We got the spike, but hey, now we got to pivot. Quarantine. There's so many people doing podcasts. I'm sure 0 people are doing podcasts about the Tiger King.
Tweeted something that said that was it Amazon sold out of like mics or something like that?
I feel like that might be for like a bit, but I'm sure
everybody and their mother is starting.
We already talked about in our early episodes how starting a podcast is the new starting a band. But hey, you know what? I am so not proud of this podcast that my Twitter account, which I never use, I don't even list the podcast.
Oh my! Wow, that's.
I'm not trying to get any clout. I'm not trying to be like, hey, ladies. You want to hear me talk about Luck of the Irish for 90 minutes with my friends?
Or better yet, Cody's son.
From the 13th year.
Yes.
To make it clear. We're not talking about like Zach and Cody yet.
Our most disliked video on the YouTube.
All right. So we put it off long enough.
Yeah.
Let's solve the mystery, the unsolved mystery of the Jennie Project.
Let's.
And it's been a while, but...
It's been a while.
We'll try to find our footing, and I think I know where we should start.
Where's that?
The beginning.
Oh, yes.
We get the typical, Disney Channel original movie, and then the Jennie Project. I don't think there was anything special about
nothing
the title placard or anything. And just very, very unassuming. I'm trying to remember even what happens.
Was it like out in the jungle?
No, it's not even there yet.
Oh,
it's just, we go into like pan shot into a house. We meet our main character.
Cosmicola.
Is he even really our main character? It's kind of, I say he's the main character because he's the most prominent child character in the movie.
Yes.
But it's kind of just a family-based picture.
You would recognize this kid. You wouldn't recognize his name, that's for sure. But he was in Home Alone 3. He was in...
Yeah, everybody's favorite, Home Alone 3. The first one without Macaulay Culkin.
But you would know him if you saw him and be like, that's not Home Alone. That's a ripoff. And what was the other one? There was another one.
He's in an upcoming DCOM, some basketball movie. Not Double Teamed.
Yeah.
But
you'd maybe recognize him. And then his dad you would recognize also if you've been watching the DCOMs along.
Yes, Daddy will be coming home very shortly.
Yes.
Andrew's just reading a comic book that I enjoyed that it seemed to be called DJ Doom.
Ooh.
Which... Hey, let's look up DJDoom.com. Is it taken? Is that my new DJ name?
Wow.
And then he's there with his sister, who I left a blank space next to her name to fill in with her name. Never learned for the rest of the movie what the sister's name is.
No, she's not really a big part of the movie.
No,
anyways.
she is not.
She cries sometimes. That's about
She's
it.
watching TV, and Andrew says, "Hey, that's fucking dumb." And she says, "Well, comic books are lame." And it's like, yeah, this is that classic sibling banter from
Bingo.
DCOM.
Check mark.
And then, car noises. Taxi or car pulls up. Daddy's home. And as Jacob mentioned, it is the actor who played Cosmocola in basically a role almost polar opposite. I would say actually polar opposite.
Yeah.
Cosmocola
is like dumb.
Crazy, bouncing off the wall, alien, chugging root beer, and eating hot dogs in a way that made my friend Devin very concerned.
Now he's a smart and intelligent professor.
He's a PhD in, I don't know, anthropology, probably. He just got back from an 8-month trip in Africa.
His, boss is touting him as, the next great scientist, the next best thing.
Yes, it's like, Dad's home, Mom comes out, and she's, huffing, puffing. We don't quite know here how long he's been gone, but apparently he was supposed to be gone for 3 months, but then was gone for 8 months,
3
which
years.
Does seem outrageous.
Yeah.
Also, maybe it's just a difference because of it being in the early 2000s, but we do learn that the mom is just a stay-at-home mom.
Yeah.
But it's I don't know if professors who... A lot of time, I think professors who go on, research trips, that covers, their ability to live in another country or whatever and pay their workers. But I don't know if he's making enough to, send home to his family to support them. Whatever, that's far from the
neither here nor there.
Biggest issue I have with this movie.
No.
The biggest issue I have shows up when he has a bag and the dad says, "Hey, I brought you home something." And there's
rolling.
A duffel bag starts rolling around, and like in the much better ape hijinks movie, Dunston Checks In.
Yeah, it's classic.
It unzips and not an orangutan, but a chimpanzee rolls out, to which the daughter, sister, responds by screaming. Which we get later on, these kids immediately start off, they fucking hate this chimpanzee. They're like, "You're fucking ugly."
Yeah,
and
that was literally said.
Looks like their ugly grandpa or something. And I don't, realistically, from an adult's point of view, I would not want to have a monkey. Ape or monkey. Ape. This ape is wearing a diaper throughout most of the movie, which
it does get changed several times.
But, that's just extra management, and it's just too much to handle. But if I was a kid and I saw a chimpanzee, I'd be fucking
loving it, hugging it.
Yeah, I'd be freaking out.
Oh man!
So then we get a flashback where we see Dr. Dad somewhere in Africa, where we learn that the ape's name is Jennie.
Jennie's something.
And in typical classic Disney fashion, for an animal character, the character's mom has to die.
Dead. He got shot with an arrow by a tribal man. But yes, there's some poachers
in this area that, weirdly enough...
I didn't think it was a poacher. It was a tribal.
He says they're poachers.
Oh, it looked like somebody from a tribe.
Because they reference the poachers later on, but yeah, it's probably because it's a Disney Channel movie that they don't use guns, they use poison arrows.
Yeah, you see him dip it in the ivory, or not the ivory, I don't know, he dips it in something.
Dips it in some poison, it hits Jennie's mom, who is pregnant with Jennie.
Yes.
So then Dr. Dad catches Jennie, or Jennie's mom. Jennie's mom is... about to die.
Oh, God.
And he takes her to the tribal area.
He was about to walk away, and then somebody's like, "It's giving birth!"
Or he was done with somebody knew that she was pregnant and it's like, "Hey, we got to deal with this."
So Cosmo pulls the arrow out of the monkey's stomach. You see that happen, and he looks at the tip, and he's like, "Oh, there's no hope here." Yep. And then he's walking away, and they're like, "It's giving birth, it's happening."
And then I don't know, we were discussing this, that... Well, no, I've seen in movies or nature documentaries, you see, little chimpanzees hanging on the backs of their mom.
Tiny. This thing came out huge, bigger than the mother.
It was not bigger than the mother, but it was at least half size. And I wasn't paying the closest attention, but the mom didn't look that pregnant either. Probably because it's weird for them to have...
We're looking for a
monkey in captivity, an ape in captivity that they use for movies that's pregnant. There's probably some laws governing breeding and stuff like that in America.
Who knows?
But hey, all right, I've got this monkey that is fairly sized, and I'll take it home to my family.
Put a diaper on it.
Kids, as we mentioned, not having it. Mom is also like, hell no. She has some offhanded comments about him keeping lizards or something.
There was a scene early on there, too, between the boy Max Keeble and the monkey Jennie, where they're sitting next to each other. I think this is when he called her ugly, when like he looks at her, and then she looks away, and then he looks away, then she looks at him, and that went on for like a minute. It was like 6-7 of these
Jake
back and forths.
Really enjoyed it, and yeah, it was at least 30 seconds.
And then he's like, ugh, you're so ugly. And then he like runs away, and she's like, makes some like audible.
There's a lot of heavy use of
Foley noises, animal Foley
monkey
noises.
Ape sound effects. And also when we'll get to some scenes where Jennie eats, and it's ASMR in the way that people like to parody ASMR being. All right, you can stop, Jake.
You get the point.
We get a dynamic set up between mom and dad where she's pissed off about the chimpanzee. Yeah. And basically we learn that, oh yeah, he's been gone for longer than he thought he would. Yeah. And this is just another classic thing of dad doing his own thing, thinking work is the most important. Yeah. And mom being like, bitch, please. I've had a 12-year-old, and we learn Andrew's 12. I don't know how old the sister is, but she's pretty young. But Jennie is actually very well behaved because in her first dinner scene,
she's sitting at the table.
Mm-hmm. And she's eating with a fork.
Yeah.
Which chimpanzees are known to use tools in the wild, but I guess it's that she thinks she's human because she's only been around humans.
For the last who knows how many months.
But it's a weird balance because a typical movie like this, you try to get the monkey to sit at the table, it goes fucking wild. Yeah. She is sitting there properly, but she just is eating in gross ways with a fork still. So the family's all like, get the milk away from her. She's nasty. And so it's just...
It's like the monkey almost slowly begins to disbehave. I don't know, what's the word I'm looking for? Like it slowly starts to get more naughty, maybe?
Yeah, well, it's just a weird balance where, based on the cover of this movie, I thought it was going to be really boring because you hear, chimpanzee who learns sign language, and the cover seems very unlike a Disney Channel movie. There's not like, wow, crazy, bubbles like in Stepsister from Planet Weird, or we don't see Cody with his merman tail on the cover. So I don't know about this movie, but a lot of it is monkey ape hijinks that I did not think would be in it. So yeah, it's just weird.
Say that's a pleasant surprise? Were you?
Yeah, there are some fun stuff that happens. And then there's some typical DCOM stuff, like in this scene at the dinner table where the dad is talking to Andrew about his grades that are bad. But the whole time we're just hearing, the slurping, nasty noises from Jennie. And then Andrew has a great line where he says, "You didn't care about my grades when you were in Africa," and storms away.
That's right.
So, yeah, we've got to have that set up because it is fair because they do set up the dad interpersonal issues with the mom, and that carries over to the kids. But you could just have a movie about a fucking chimpanzee.
Yeah.
Mighty Joe Young. We have MVP, most valuable primate.
That's right.
That's the thing is there's not enough. Because the main part of this movie is her learning sign language.
Yeah.
That's
the character arc.
Yeah, I don't really have patience for a lot of this movie because there's crazy stuff or goofy stuff that happens, but the overall story is not really crazy and it's pretty grounded, unlike Dunston Checks In, which is about an orangutan who goes into a hotel who's owned by a jewel thief or something, and just goes around and fucks things up and makes Jason Alexander say, holy shit, or something like that. Or MVP is about a chimpanzee that plays fucking hockey.
Yeah.
Like, I wouldn't watch a movie...
It was probably the same monkey, same ape.
I wouldn't watch a movie called Sign Bud that's about a golden retriever that learns sign language. I want to see him play fucking basketball.
That's right.
Yeah, it's just a little... unbalanced with some of the tonal stuff.
Well, you just said it though too. If it was just about a monkey learning sign language and not all these goofy situations it got into, it wouldn't have been nothing of a movie.
Well, there is. I would think.
Unless it's like a documentary.
The Planet of the Apes
Jane
is about
Goodall.
James Franco and John Lithgow having a smart monkey that goes on to
terrorizes the world.
Yeah.
It's a little,
In Google, there was suggested movies, and some of them were like MVP, but also one was Rise of the Planet of the Apes. But I mean, I'm kind of surprised there hasn't been. But Coco the gorilla, the real gorilla.
Well, that's what I was saying.
There's
I mean, like documentaries, like documentaries. But nobody would just like, hey, here's this fun kids movie on Disney, the monkey learns sign language.
This movie is based on a book, but it's a fictional book. This is not going into this movie, I was like, is this going to be a real story?
It could
But stuff that happens in this movie very clearly makes it so, no, this is not a true story.
Accurate.
So Andrew's mad about his dad giving him shit about his grades, so he storms off to bed, and that night, in movies, a lot of time, kids fall to sleep, and then their parents come by, and they'll talk in hushed tones, and say something about the kid. And here is one of the weirdest bedside chats, because the dad goes and sits down and says, he's so angry.
Oh.
Implying that earlier he was angry, but it's also like maybe he's just like so angry in his sleep, like under his breath. Andrew's just like, fucking God. But the mom's like, okay, let's go away now. And then they put Jenny in the basement, which is very spooky. It has a Santa Claus doll that's scary, but then it has a T-Rex toy that starts moving its mouth, and is there a ghost down here?
That was pretty creepy. It was, I don't know, just Jenny's imagination. It was
I don't know.
Kind of like Kevin McAllister when he goes into the basement and the heater,
the boiler
is creepy and making faces at him and eating them.
So then Jenny gets scared and she escapes upstairs.
It could actually literally be a homage, because that's literally the kid from Home Alone.
3.
I
don't know if Home Alone 3 was made by this time or not, though.
Maybe.
And then we quickly start to just get, I call it a goof checklist of things you have with a monkey in your movie.
Monkey in your movie.
So she's scared. Where does she go? She runs up to the parents' bed where the mom's sleeping.
Yes.
And she puts her hand to the mom's hand, and the mom is all
spooning.
Like, it's so nice for you to be home. I want our family to be close. And then she opens her eyes. Oh my God, a chimpanzee's in my bed. So she rolls out of bed.
Falls out of the bed, and then Cosmicola looks in. Honey. And he's just staring right at the ape, and he just shrugs his shoulders and goes...
Yeah, because that's who he was calling Honey, is he is hot for Jenny.
Yeah, and he just goes back to brushing his teeth. I don't know why he wouldn't react to, Jenny being in the bed, but... Yeah.
Yep, and then what's next for a chimpanzee who has already been established as being fairly well-behaved? She destroys the kitchen.
Oh, yes. At first we see the boy, young boy's walking around, and he steps in like some... We heard like a weird squish.
Yeah, we don't see what he steps in at
I thought he was stepping in monkey poo.
Yeah,
but
and I was like,
down, and
I really hoped it wouldn't be.
And it kind of looked like pee. We thought it was pee. And then he kept walking in it until he found the bottle.
Implied to be viscous and sticky.
We found the maple syrup bottle, and then he finds a whole bunch of other stuff just strewn about the kitchen.
Yeah, the kitchen is fairly wrecked.
Yeah.
And then the mom comes in she goes or I go. And the dad's like, well, I'm not getting rid of a fucking chimpanzee.
Damn straight.
Then there's this...
File the divorce papers.
It keeps going where the little sister's playing with Jenny with dolls, like a Ken doll.
Bites the head off or rips it off.
Bites it and scary.
Then the boy makes a comment, I knew he was all body, no brains.
Yeah.
It's like, what?
Shut up. Jenny escapes outside and is running around, and there's a lady painting flowers in her yard.
And she's like, one daffodil, one tulip, one chimpanzee. One chimpanzee!
And then
she starts screaming.
We see her husband working on something he's very troubled with.
She's trying to yell his name, but it's like whispers, like she's in such fear. She's like, Henry.
Yeah. Henry. And eventually...
Henry! And then he hears her, looks out the window, and Jenny's chasing her around the garden.
And then Andrew shows up.
Starts chasing the old woman around the garden.
We don't see the resolution
and
of
he
that.
just laughs. He's like, oh.
The husband does not. And then we could seem just an offhand thing, but it turns out to be very important because Jenny once again runs outside at some point and encounters the mailman Frank.
Who is in Miracle in Lane
2. Who's
Frankie
the
Muniz.
mean, now I wouldn't say quite evil dad, but the mean dad
Army
of
buzz
the
cut
girl rival
guy. Yes.
And he gets scared and he drops a package that's fragile and it shatters.
Breaks. He's like, this is not coming out of my paycheck.
Yeah, so we're planting the seeds of, is the mailman going to be the biggest villain in this movie?
Yeah.
In some ways, yes. And in other ways, he's at least the second most villainous person in the movie.
The United States Postal Service.
So then Dr. Dad is at a museum or a college or a combination of the two where he works and he's talking to some other academic guy who I only learned his name later because he's slightly important in one scene where his name's Walter. Where, Walter, I have this chimpanzee. What should I do with it? Because my wife wants me to get rid of it. Oh, well, I know some researchers who need extra subjects. So then we get a scene where the dad is talking to these researchers, and then we just get immediate sad music, and we see monkeys and
before we see the monkeys
in cages, and we do this operation, and then it's okay.
He's like, we usually keep them for 2 to 3 years.
Okay, yep, nope. We're keeping Jenny forever.
Alexa, what is the average age of a chimpanzee?
So then the dad comes home and he sees Andrew teaching Jenny how to play rock, paper, scissors.
Yes.
That's interesting.
At first, I did make the remark. I'm like, he's teaching her sign language. But then we're like, why would he know sign language?
Yeah, we've established that he's a fucking dumbass and is doing bad in school. So I was about to say, no, he should not know sign language. But he doesn't. And then the dad decides to build a treehouse for Jenny.
In the middle of the night, he's banging and all the people come out. What the hell is going on?
Which makes the mom pissed Jenny. Again, which I feel she is fairly warranted.
Yeah.
And then the dad goes into something about, when Jenny was born, people say when somebody's born, you might imprint on them. But I think she imprinted on me because I was the first person she saw. And she reached out to me. And it's like, oh my fucking God.
Daddy, Dad, Cosmo Daddy, Papa Daddy.
Settle down.
Yeah.
And then, the treehouse is done. Andrew's there with Dad, and they're just like, hey, we did it. And we don't know. It seems, at least through what the movie shows, it's just done the next morning.
Yeah. But apparently there are materials from the treehouse left on the ground.
Maybe. But if this was a different movie, it'd be fun for the son and the dad to work on a treehouse together, like the youngest Lawrence wanted to do with his dad in Horse Sense,
and then the older one fucked it all up
by doing a great job.
Yes, and then the younger one rips it all apart and cries.
I didn't love Horse Sense, but I would have rather watched Horse Sense again than this movie. So then we just get more scenes. A lot of this movie, especially early on, are just scenes that just happen. So I just have a list here of Jenny in a tutu.
Yes, dancing with, the sister.
Mom changing Jenny's diapers, and then Jenny makes, faces at her.
Yes. Does not urinate or poo on her, so that was good.
Andrew gives a report at school, but the cool part of it is his dad shows up with Jenny and all the kids.
Asks all the questions.
Yeah, the kids are, oh my God!
So he's cool and he's smart, and he just moved up a letter grade, I think, or maybe not just yet.
No, not yet.
Not just yet.
Jenny plays football with Andrew.
I don't remember that one.
That's mostly just touchdown dances, I think. And then we see more.
Oh, yes, I do remember the
mailman
jerseys.
Frank, who I think has, it looks like mace or something.
Yeah, he pulls it out.
Chimpanzee mace.
He pulls it out on them, and he's like, don't let that thing come near me.
And then it's Jenny's birthday.
Yay, cake and hats and party dresses.
We try to do the math, and at the very... If basically this dad was gone for 8 months, if he got Jenny on day one of his trip, then Jenny still would have lived with the family for at least 4 months. Which I guess maybe a month of that was spent on the treehouse.
Yeah.
But it just flies by. This movie really did not fly by for me. So they're having a party. We get Jenny gets a cake, but she pours water on it to blow out the candles.
To blow the candles, yes.
And then we get some really...
Extinguish the candles.
We get some really gross mouth noises from Jenny here. And then there's a knock on the door, and we meet Pam Prentice. Pam Prentice.
The bitch.
Who, yes, is a very famous researcher, apparently.
Full of herself.
But she is super snooty, where she's talking about, Jenny's watching television.
Turn that garbage off. You leave that, and then she literally turns the TV off, and the kid's like, what the fuck?
She's like, well, you're fine to rot your brain, but I don't want the chimpanzee.
Yes.
She's eating processed sugars. And then the parents sit down to talk with her.
She eats what we eat. That's the problem.
Yeah.
You're the problem.
But this is not a Disney Channel movie where the mom makes like gross healthy stuff. Oh, she just makes normal stuff, which is terrible. I mean, it probably is terrible for a chimpanzee to have a big ice cream cake or whatever they were eating. But then she's sitting down because she has a proposal, some research proposal with the parents. And they give her some coffee and she drinks it. And she's just like, ugh, not French press.
She's not a likable character.
And you're not supposed to like her.
You know they're making her out to be the villain. But we don't know really why just yet.
As much as a villain can be in this movie.
Yes.
So she wants to use Jennie in a study she has because Jennie is species isolated, so she's never been around other chimpanzees. She's only been around humans.
Yeah.
So it's a study where she's trying to see how fast chimpanzees learn sign language. So Jennie would be able to be the control because she's in a fairly... Well, this isn't as controlled of an environment as I would like.
Yes.
But the dad lets Jennie participate, but he doesn't want any compensation or anything. Pam offers that, but he's like, no, you can use our living room. And the mom says, she can use the garage.
That's right. For 3 days a week.
She starts coming 3 days a week and teaching her sign language, and the family also seems to be learning.
They're learning. They have like 10 books. 9 after Jennie rips one up.
Yes, Pam and family are trying to teach her, but Jennie does not seem to be receptive.
Names, Apple. Oh, I think this might have been the part where she started to, where the bitch thinks that like Jennie's signing, but she's doing like rock, paper, scissors.
Yeah, and that doesn't really...
No.
That doesn't pay off in any way.
No.
I don't think so. So Andrew is saying, like, hey, you know what? Sign language fucking sucks. And he takes Jennie to go see Tarzan.
Yes.
Which is funny.
He buys 2 tickets for $1.
Yeah, and then...
And then the guy sticks his head up to the glass to see the monkey. And then
Andrew
Jennie
says, puberty. And then they just go in, and then we see Jennie, like...
bang on her chest.
Yeah, like Tarzan or a gorilla or something. And that's the scene.
Yeah.
Then they come home, and Andrew gets in trouble. And then he says, well, fuck you! Jennie doesn't want to learn sign language. And he runs up to his room. Before he does that, he signs something to his dad.
Yeah.
And then Pam's like, ho, 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 he does not like you.
We looked it up. He called him a stupid fuckface.
No, we did not look it up. And I wonder, actually, if we did... I mean, it's not something you can probably easily look up, but if we knew somebody who knew sign language, it'd be interesting what they put into the movie.
Yeah.
It could just be like when people get Japanese or Chinese characters tattooed on their body and it's just like total nonsense.
Maybe.
But then Dad goes up to talk to Andrew in a unique father-son moment because the dad says, well, I want Jennie to be in this study because I want her to be able to communicate with us. And the son is like, well, she's a part of our family. She's not an experiment. Also, he just randomly says, you care more about work than us, which is warranted, but doesn't really fit with the flow of the conversation that's happening. And then the dad says, well, fuck you. You're not mature enough to listen. You're stupid. So why do I even bother talking to you? And he walks off. And the mom comes up to him and is like, hey, you sure about that? I don't think you should have said that. But he doesn't go back and, like, apologize.
That was the resolution. We needed one of those. We haven't really got one of those. All these parent-children interactions, these trying to resolve an issue, they always come out happy, and this is what we needed.
Yes, it does shirk or break the curve, which is fine, but it's also just weird.
No closure. There was no closure.
No, they kind of
They could still be fighting to this day.
Yeah, they mend, but it's more just like Andrew does accept that, hey, her learning sign language is cool, and then...
Yeah, because he likes it. He starts to learn it.
Yeah. So then we get a very weird sequence. It doesn't start off weird, but at first the mom is making some deviled eggs.
Yeah.
And then Jennie starts throwing them at her. And then the mom gets pissed and she's taking her down to the basement to like lock her up. She's in the basement, not like in a cage or anything.
Was she carrying her? Was she dragging her down the steps?
Well, she was bringing her down the steps, but then Jennie grabbed onto something, so she was trying to pull her off.
She hold on to the railing. She's like, no.
And while this is happening, there's like some goofy music, so it's supposed to, I think, be, oh, it's playful. We're supposed to not like the mom because she's being mean to Jennie, but like it's, again, Jenny is learning sign language or not, and she's well behaved, but then she just like fucking throws eggs and shit.
All in the hair. And then the mother throws her down into the kiddie pool.
She does not throw her down.
She gently places Jenny into the kiddie pool and says something, and she starts to walk away, and Jenny does the sign for love.
Or love, or a hug, and the
Jenny,
mom says,
hug you.
Hug who? And then she signs correctly Jenny, and then, oh my fucking god, kids, come down here!
Cosmicola! She calls her husband that's at the
university, maybe, and
he's freaking out. He's running. He's going to tell his professor friend that he's...
Walter, she spoke!
Yeah.
Who? Jenny. The fuck? The chimpanzee! So then we get a montage of Jenny signing and understanding and the family just being all happy and loving. And then it comes to a halt when the mailman shows up. And we get first set up that, oh, what are you looking for in your mail, Mr. Cosmo, Dr. Cola? Mr. Pibb? I don't fucking know what I'm going for.
Cola,
and he says, oh, I'm looking for a letter to see if I get a new grant to go research in Africa.
Yeah.
And then mailman Frank says, oh, wow, that's got to be really tough to leave a family behind.
Especially and a beautiful wife.
Especially with a wife as fucking hot and smoking and tight-assed as
wife.
Mrs. Archibald. And then
Wait, what the hell?
All right, thank you, Frank. And what a villainous man.
Dirty mailman. Dirty United States Postal Service.
And then Pam says basically she wants to take Jenny away from the family because she doesn't think the environment's great. So then Dad's friend Walter at the university kind of arbitrates the conversation. And basically Pam is like, yo, Jenny is so fucking smart because she didn't know sign language and all of a sudden she does. She's like the most important discovery or possibility of research for apes and anthropology or whatever in decades.
Yeah.
And then Walter's like, okay, very good point. And Cosmicola, what do you think? He goes, hey, she's my family. Okay, Pam, you can go. Cosmo, did you just listen to what you said? You're treating her like a daughter. Am I? And then he's like, you've imprinted on her. You've imprinted on her, haven't you? You rascal. So it's kind of a serious situation, like something in Air Bud where, oh, are we thinking that the clown is going to come and take Air Bud away? And then we get some emotional whiplash where the mom is unloading. Again, it's just the mom where Jenny goes off on. The mom is unloading some groceries from her car. Yep. And then Jenny just gets into some bags and is throwing like toilet paper and paper towels at the mom. And it's so funny. But she's the most important scientific resource in decades.
Yeah.
And then the mailman shows up with the letter for Dad. And Andrew gets it.
Yes.
And at first, the mailman has a really funny thing where he says, hey, you need to like start hanging out with people more. People are talking about how you're not hanging out with humans. And it was just so weird because it is understandable that, hey, the movie has not shown us him hanging out with
How
any
often
friends.
Is this dude watching this kid? Is he tracking his every move?
We saw him at school, but again, it's just what the movie shows us. But now it's telling us that he has no social life and he just hang out with Jenny all
I feel like
the time.
he'd get more friends having an ape as a brother, sister.
Yeah. And you know what?
Sibling.
Dunston checks in. Dunston kisses that kid 2 times. Oh. Jenny's the girl chimpanzee, and he doesn't kiss, or she doesn't kiss.
That's Andrew? What you were looking for? That was your...
I don't know.
I think it was.
Actually, what do you think? Is it weirder for Dunston
kissing
to kiss
a boy,
or is it...
I don't like this conversation.
I think, at least in Disney's eyes, it would be weirder
I think she kisses one of them at one point, maybe early on in the movie. I think she, kisses one of them. Maybe the mom. I don't know.
I didn't pay as close of attention in this as I did
Who
for
knows?
Dunston Checks In. But random thought.
You wanted a make out session between the brother and the sister.
It's set up that he has no human friends. He knows of puberty.
His first
so maybe
kiss.
He's hitting puberty.
Oh God.
Yeah, he's spending a lot of time with that chimpanzee.
Yikes.
Up in that treehouse all alone, she's wearing those dresses.
There are scenes, deleted that we don't see.
The movie is very short. The movie is
version.
76 minutes long.
So we don't know what was taken out of those 15, 20 minutes.
A movie that's that short just implies there were deleted scenes. The Little Mermaid, which is also 76 minutes long, you are missing scenes where, Sebastian's using he's got 2 prongs on that claw.
He's a diddler. This is weird.
All right. So then Andrew gets this letter that he opens up because he's just, it's for the grant for my dad to go to Africa.
And he reads it.
He's up in the treehouse with Jenny. He reads it and he gets upset. He's crying because he doesn't want his dad to go because we know he would go because the dad in this sucks.
So here's the association formed.
And then he tears it up, and then Jenny starts tearing up some other stuff they have around, and Jenny is just a sponge. She's so smart, she just soaks everything up.
So she's trained to rip things up.
And we immediately see the consequences of that as we see the neighborhood all assaulting just about Frank the mailman and saying, "Where the fuck is our mail, Frank? My Playboy is supposed to be here,
Where's
Frank.
my social security check,
My Reader's Digest, Frank." So Frank, okay, I'll
go. My
go.
Scholastics magazine.
I'll find it. And he finds a trail of envelopes and letters.
Ripped
most of
pieces
them
of paper, addresses.
Torn up, and then it leads to the treehouse where he sees just a ton inside.
He has to climb the ladder first.
Yeah, which is a rope ladder, which Frank the mailman, if you couldn't pick up on it, he's a little heavier set. And the movie treats him as, I guess if you're heavy, you just don't know how to use a rope ladder because he's like, eventually gets to the top of the treehouse and he's hanging up there like Simba being attacked by Scar.
Yeah.
Or, sorry, more accurately would be Mufasa. But there is a part where Simba hangs from a cliff as well.
Yes.
And then Jenny comes by and we picking up on, I learned from watching you, Andrew, how to create a federal crime of destroying people's mail.
Yeah.
And then she pulls on the ladder or
starts
something.
shaking the bottom of it, and he's like, and then
he falls down, and seems like there was just a random piece of wood down there, but I think it was what the rope ladder was attached to.
Oh, it ripped off?
And it came off with that. And Frank the mailman picks up this 2x4 and says, nobody picks a fight with the U.S. mail. And he looks like he's about to just swing and decapitate this chimpanzee potentially.
But the shining moment of the young sister's whole movie.
I almost forgot, wait, how does he not just hit the chimpanzee?
Her biggest moment, she comes and stomps on his big toe.
Yep.
And she,
looks like he probably had a steel-toed boot on.
And he cowers in pain. He shudders to the ground. He's done.
Frank.
She's done it. Knocked him out.
He's a weakling.
1 round. TKO.
But it's not over. It can't be over.
No, he's like, I think he probably made some more remarks there, like, this is us all. I don't know what he else said there.
But Jenny goes into his mail truck and starts driving it.
Yes. And we don't see anybody in the seat because she's so small. So we're like, what the hell? But we know.
And she's a bad driver, but she's not as bad as she probably should be.
No, she only really crashes into mailboxes. And this chase is like a minute.
It's pretty long.
2 minutes? I don't know.
And eventually she does become a pretty bad driver because she almost hits Dr. Dad, who coincidentally, I don't know if he always does this, but he was biking home from work. And he swerves out of the way, and Jenny, I think, kind of swerves around him and then hits a fire hydrant or something.
Misses a couple of cars along the way.
So then Frank is pissed, but the family's just like, see ya. And then they take Jenny to the hospital.
For broken leg or something.
And she's wrapped up in a blanket, and they're talking to the nurse. I think she's got a fractured arm or something. And she's like, okay, let me see. This is a hospital for humans only. And then
Cosmo's pissed. He's like, what's your name? Who's your supervisor?
This is outrageous. And I think we're just supposed to, again, this is pushing the fact that the family is seeing her not as an ape, but as part of their family.
Daughter.
But come on.
A sister.
He can't be mad that the hospital's not going to admit a fucking chimpanzee.
But wait.
Yes, Andrew has Jenny with him in the waiting room and is trying to sign to her. I don't even know. She only got one working arm.
Yeah.
But then, I shouldn't say but there's a It's a pretty fucking corny moment where there's another kid in the waiting room who is deaf, and he goes up and is able to sign to Jenny.
Yeah.
And says, "Oh, get well soon." And then the nurse is like, "Oh, fuck, she can sign? All right, get the paperwork ready."
Human enough for me. Human enough for me.
No! Especially now in like our current climate. I mean, this would still have been the case in the early 2000s, but that's not how the U.S. healthcare system works. They don't accept, well, I guess they do accept people without insurance. You just get fucked in the ass for paying for it. Yeah. But they're not about giving out any free care, and there's absolutely no way they're going to get, I guess maybe the doctor's just paying out of pocket, but highly unlikely. Then we get a weird transition where
Cosmo's walking back to
the waiting room.
We see him turn around, and then boom, there's nobody in the waiting room. They're all gone.
And then
everybody's gone.
The nurse comes out and says, "All right, Jenny's all better."
That was a quick surgery.
And it could have been a stylistic sort of edit passage of time.
They're like walking, pacing.
There is nothing to imply
tapping their foot, really worried about her.
Yeah.
It was a good scene there they cut out.
And then speaking of things being not how they actually would work, at least in the United States, I can't speak for all countries' medical and legal systems, then we get a trial where Frank the mailman has taken Jenny to court. But
yeah, it directly cuts from that to that, doesn't it?
Yep, it
does.
That
was weird.
And the trial, the judge is calling the plaintiff and defendant, I guess. But it's a child's movie where they don't fully understand how the legal system works. So I'm thinking, is this pre-trial where they're reading the charges? Well, they do. So it's understandable that the judge might not know that she's an ape.
Yeah.
But there's no lawyers there. So Frank the mailman is representing himself, and also Jenny's being represented by the doctor. So it's like small claims court, like a Judge Judy situation. But the judge is taken aback that there is a chimpanzee, and she is, "You making a mockery of my courtroom?"
Cosmo says it's more human than anything else.
So Jenny ends up taking the stand with an ASL interpreter
Swears
from the court.
in with the Bible.
And then she ends up saying,
"Apple. Jenny, want apple.
Why did you do this?" "Oh, I want an apple." "Oh, Jenny." And they're like, "No, fucking, you're serious." Because at one point the judge says Grand Theft Auto and endangerment and all this stuff.
I'm going to have to put this fucker down.
If this was real, the animal might need to be destroyed. So Jenny Max
Keeble starts signing to it, and the judge is like, "None of this. I won't be having that." But then the ASL interpreter's like, she's responding to his question.
And she says, "Frank bad." And Frank chimes in, "I resent that characterization."
And he says, "Frank hurt Andrew."
Yes. So Frank had hurt Andrew because the letter made Andrew cry.
So, like here, the judge is probably thinking, "Damn, the postman's beating up Andrew."
Yes, but Jenny is smart enough to, I guess, make figurative or metaphorical associations between people and objects.
Smartest
and stuff.
monkey ever. Yeah. Ape, chimpanzee.
So then Pam Prentice is the researcher, is in attendance. And she pops in, and in a non-thing that really works with the legal system. She says, "Hey, Judge, Miss Prentice, Dr. Prentice, I've read all your books. I'm so honored." You. So then she says, "Can we have a recess in my chambers where we just all discuss it?" And it's implied that Pam has cut a deal where, hey, you don't kill Jenny, and I'll take her to a more secure environment at my research facility. Yeah. So at home, Dad informs Jenny in the treehouse that she'll be going with Pam. They're signing, and here comes the sad music.
Yeah.
Jenny. And then Pam collects her in a very, very villainous way because she has a cage in the back of her truck. Yeah. And then she says she belongs to science now, which makes it sound like you're going to dissect her or whatever. But, it is kind of just
cherry on top of the evil genius.
It's an anthropological study, so it's a lot of just observation and notes and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, she drives away, and then Andrew gets home and sees his dad sitting on the steps because that's where you go when you're sad. You just sit on your stoop, like the stoop kid.
Stoop kid, trying to leave your stoop.
And he says, "Hey, Dad!" And he presents this mysterious paper from school where his dad says, "This is great." And he says,
I went up a whole letter grade.
I went up a whole letter grade. We don't know. That could be
F to a D.
Yes, exactly. It could be an F to a D,
no
D to a C. Anyway, it could...
An A to a
No.
Alpha.
Basically, at best, he could be
Beta.
C to B, but it's still probably not that great if he only went up to a D or a C, which is the more likely case. And he says, I'm going to go show Jenny. And I'm thinking, Jenny would probably eat this paper. She's done that in multiple scenes.
Rip it or eat it.
But then the dad says, well,
sorry,
Jenny had to go to a farm up north.
A farm? That sounds even worse.
And then Andrew gets very sad and he runs away for hours.
Bikes away.
Well, we see him run away, and then later on we see him on a bike.
On a bike.
So his parents were like, oh, okay, see ya. And he's just getting a bike, he puts his helmet on, and then rides away.
And they're talking to the daughter.
Well, they're on the phone trying to report him as missing, and the cops are typical pigs being like, man,
pigs.
Only 5 hours? He's just a 12-year-old kid. We can't file a missing persons report. Be a better parent. And then the daughters, he went to the Hot Cheese, and it's
Hot Cheese.
The name of Pam's place is like Tachi Research Facility.
Hot Cheese.
Atachi or something like that. And the dad had stopped by to be, I've looked everywhere with his friends, which I guess Frank was wrong. He has friends and neighbors that he was checking with.
They love him.
And they never thought, so the dad had told Andrew where Jenny was going, I'm pretty sure. And he never thought that would be where he would be going.
Look.
So they act all surprised. And then we cut to Andrew at the facility. He rides up with his bike.
And we maybe see a sign of what the name of the facility is. So they're establishing
our stream wasn't the highest quality. And then he takes off his helmet to do an unsafe thing where he climbs the fence, which is weird that this place, it's a weird combination where this place has security, which I don't know if this place would necessarily, but it has security, but not like razor wire.
Yeah.
And then he hops a fence and there is a security guard, but he's sleeping. I mean, I guess they probably don't have a lot of break-ins at the Atachi Primate Research Center.
Hot cheese.
So then he finds Jenny and breaks into her containment area. Enclosure, thank you.
We just see the Dr. Biatch leaving.
Yeah. I thought it was going to be a situation where he saw a chimpanzee and it wasn't Jenny. And then he'd be like, oh, fuck. I don't actually know anything about Jenny. But no, he finds Jenny immediately. Apparently she's the only one there.
No.
And then they fall to sleep together. And then Pam finds them and is so moved by seeing them sleeping there that the next day Andrew wakes up and his parents and sister are there. And he's like, Mom, Dad. And the sister's like, man, I'm here too. And, okay,
who are
awesome.
You again?
And then Pam has decided to let Dad return with Jenny to Africa.
Native land, where she's never been with
and it's like, wasn't
before.
Jenny's mother killed by poachers? Oh, well, it's okay because now where she lives is a sanctuary. Well, that's convenient in the last year or so that has happened. And then Pam, she's such a vital asset. Well, it could be interesting, even though I'm not going to study it, but it would be interesting if she got reunited with her family, even though her mom fucking died. Dad. That would be okay with me. So then, I guess you're going to African, Dad. And he says, yeah, I sure am. But how about we go as a family?
Make it a family affair. Why not? Hell yeah. So
really, there's resolution to some of the conflicts, but it's just because we see people happy and accepting things, and that's how it's resolved. Besides, like, Jenny. But even Jenny, it's not really... Well, it's implied that it's not safe for her to live with humans, which is probably accurate, but in such a ridiculous way that it happens by her hijacking a fucking... Mail truck. Yeah. And, like, that's the lesson. That's their wake-up call. So, they go to Africa. They find...
slow-mo.
They find Jenny's family and reunite them. And there's some really awkward slow-mo where Jenny's walking away and
quick little look
Dad
back.
And Andrew are looking at her and they're still in slow-mo and it goes on for 20, 30 seconds. And then I wasn't sure if our stream was just bad. And then, it moves back to normal. And then we get some narration from Andrew where he says, my dad is a scientist and he knows about the natural order. And we can see with our eyes and our heart, which is not a very scientific thing to say. And the natural order is not a chimpanzee wearing a diaper and a dress and eating a birthday cake. But hey, It's a whimsical or a heartfelt message that is very hollow if you think anything about it. And then we see Jenny and him in like another slow-mo, their heads turning or some shit. And that
Fade out to a message that says Jenny was later poached to death 1 year later.
Yeah. It wasn't really a sanctuary.
It was a trap.
So that was the Jennie Project.
Yeah.
Which, it's a movie that I didn't love, but I'm not like too hard on it.
No.
Interestingly enough, when I was looking into what little information there is about this, because on IMDb there's nothing, no goofs, no trivia, no anything about it listed, which is one of the only
Disney's disowned it.
DCOMs that we've seen like that. And I saw that it was based on a book, and then I went to the book's Wikipedia page and I saw a snippet of a review, and the reviewer was like, I don't know. Some of this stuff seems like it might play better on like a movie screen, so just wait for the Disney movie.
Oh.
And he didn't say Disney Channel movie, so I think this was a situation where...
How old is this article you were reading?
I don't know.
2000?
Yeah, probably. I don't know when the book came out.
Wow.
But I think it was kind of similar to... I can't remember what we were reading, but I came across some kind of like production announcement, some press release that Disney must have released for one of the movies we were watching.
Yeah.
So I think there must have been something at some point where, Disney to produce movie based on
book
Jennie Project.
Yeah.
And then I questioned for a bit whether this would have been like a real movie they intended to probably not put in theaters, but maybe do a video release of. Because if you look at the history of Disney, they did a lot of fucking animal movies.
Yeah.
Shaggy Dog, Shaggy DA, That Darn Cat. We listed off a bunch when we were talking about stuff that was on Disney Plus.
Yeah.
And it really doesn't feel like a Disney Channel movie in a lot of ways.
But it does have two of the other Disney Channel original movies.
And that's the thing,
or
where
three,
it has...
I guess. At least three.
It has some crossover talent of people who have been in other movies, so that's why I was like, it's starting to feel more like a Disney Channel movie. But it just feels so weird to go from Luck of the Irish, which is a very classic, that's like different styles of DCOMs put into one. And then the Jet Jackson movie, which is, a TV show on Disney Channel, to this, where the main character is 12 years old and he doesn't
most of them are just unrealistic, crazy things for DCOMs. This is like this could maybe be true.
It is an animal-based movie, which kids like, but it's...
Apart from, I guess, driving the mail truck, everything could have maybe happened,
it's not as goofy as it could have been for being an animal movie. It's not You Lucky Dog, where you get the dog and the guy acting like a dog. And I'll say, You Lucky Dog, better courtroom scene than the Jennie Project. So, yeah, it's a movie that I'm not... Hey, if it was longer, I might have been more upset with it, but it just kind of made me feel nothing in a way.
Yeah,
which
wasn't
is
really...
sometimes what we can all we can ask for.
Like, I mean, it wasn't really fulfilling. The fact that she learned sign language was cool, but she's not going to go teach her family sign language. Like, what was the point?
Yeah.
What's the project? Is the project for her to learn sign language, and then it's just the project is... Yeah,
that's a really good point. That really it's just...
what was the
there's
point of the movie?
There's no payoff for anything. There's not really a culmination. It's just...
It's not like...
She's part of her family. Well, actually, it ends up she can't be part of her family. Oh, she's learning sign language and...
Like we said, like, she never knew any other... Like, she didn't know her family. Like, if she was maybe taken away from her mother and reunited, that would have been, I think, good.
So let's do one of our classic breakdowns of themes or plot lines. So one thing we have is, can Jenny as a chimpanzee be part of a human family? It is decided, no, that really can't be.
Yeah.
There are issues between the dad and mom and the dad and the son about his work. Is that really resolved? No. He takes them to Africa. That's not realistic because the kids are still in school then.
Maybe.
That's not something that's going to hold out for the long term.
No.
But we get that paid off in the sense that we see people happy at the end of the movie.
And
Jenny
happy's good for DCOM.
Is learning sign language. What is the culmination of that? She will forget it because she's not going to be using it.
If you don't use it, you lose it. Jenny
is really important for the development of science, and research in science is sometimes worth sacrifices by family. Oh, well, actually, we're going to send Jenny back to
let her go.
So really, it's just
Like she probably, my guess is maybe they wanted to use her to teach the other chimpanzees.
I don't know.
Language.
That's why
we don't know.
I feel that if this movie did not have at least some of the goofiness, I didn't like most of the goofiness. I just liked Frank the Mailman and everything that happened with that. No. If that wasn't in this movie would be even more hollow. Because it really is. There's nothing.
There's 20, 30 minutes missing.
Yeah.
They didn't know how to wrap it up. They didn't know how to...
It's one... I did not get mad at it. It did not exhaust me like some we've watched. Yeah. I did not find anything really interesting about
it. Hate it.
Or find something where... If this was a more serious take on this, it could be like, this could have been a real movie.
Like Jenny has a breakthrough with just sign language in general, the sign language community.
But it was already goofy with the chimpanzee as soon as it showed up.
No.
So... yeah, I don't know. It's a shrug and a meh from us. And we didn't even need to pretend that this was one you maybe did or did not remember because nobody knows of the Jennie Project. As I mentioned in some episodes, I have my Letterboxd
Maybe it only showed once.
I have my Letterboxd account where you can see my specific star ratings for all of my Disney Channel original movies at @fat_tomato on Letterboxd, as well as some other short reviews I've done of a few movies. And I'm interested to see if there's even an entry for the Jennie Project. Ooh. And how many people have reviewed it if there has been. Because there's especially some of the DCOMs, where I think like Ready to Run, maybe there was like 250 ratings. Oh, wow. So not a lot.
Like, what have been some of the most you've seen for some of them? Like a lot? Like hundreds, thousands?
Probably a couple thousand.
Oh. Maybe like for Xenon or...
yeah. Speaking of DCOMs, not just movies. There are plenty of movies that have a lot more ratings.
Yeah.
So, yeah. As we get into the plugging section of the show, you can check out my Letterboxd at @fat_tomato. I sometimes actually write words with movies now. If I have the thoughts to put down to paper and the time to kill at work where I want to write some stuff out. And some podcasts I've listened to recently in light of things that are happening in the world today are saying, hey, you know what? Take care of yourself. You don't need to evangelize us or anything. But you know what? We're still kind of small scale, so I'm still going to do the plug. So subscribe, rate us, review us, Apple Podcasts, Google Play, Spotify, all that jazz.
All of it.
We mentioned it at the top of the episode. Subscribe to us on YouTube. Like, comment, subscribe, all of that jazz. If you just want to pop in and see the like ratios sometimes.
That's kind of
Our biggest battle is on the 13th year, but I think it's largely a losing one.
Lost cause.
You know, you're home alone. Or maybe not home alone, but you're home a lot of the time. And you're bored, maybe. You're running out of stuff to do.
Listen to our pod again and again.
Yeah, I guess maybe that doesn't work for you if you have listened to all the episodes.
You've already watched The Office 17 times, the whole thing.
Yeah, you damn Zoomer.
You could listen to our podcast 17 times.
You might know some people who are also lacking in things to watch. Or, hey, you got a Disney Plus subscription. Most of the movies we've talked about are on Disney Plus. Listen to the podcast with a friend or family member. Have some goofs. Have some laughs.
Yeah.
Have a good time. Because this is our 30th episode.
Wow.
Took a little bit for us to get there. We had a good stretch going for a while, but hey, COVID, am I right? Jennie Project, very unceremonious movie to make it to this milestone.
What do we have next? What's coming up 31?
I honestly don't know.
Well, stay tuned for the next episode to find out.
Whenever that might be, we'll make no promises. But
hopefully within the year, you know.
Yes, we will.
Hopefully
I will
within
say
the year.
We will make it within the year. But I thank you for watching and listening. I don't know why I said watching.
On YouTube.
Yes, you're watching the still image that I put there.
Expecting it to move.
But thanks for tuning in. I've been Lucas Melby.
And I am still Jacob Telejohn.
And
hasta la vista, baby.
PSA. Hey, you know what? Wash your hands.
Don't be silly. Wrap your face.
Use a mask like me if you want. Maintain social distance. And, hey, we'll get through this.
Always wear protection.
Jacob, why are you dabbing right now?
Chimpanzee. 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 It's the chimpanzee time. the chimpanzee rhyme. It's the chimpanzee time. It's the chimpanzee rhyme. Chimpanzee. 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 With the top movements and behavior, he's been tipping over Jesus' manger. He's chimpanzee. That's how he be.
Now, I know that your organization has been to the Four Seasons. And, of course, I would be loath to ever speak ill of a competitor, but...
Holy shit!
He must really hate the Four Seasons.
No!